Good day, my friends. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. Today, I have an outdoor news episode that is pretty bizarre. More because of the headlines than anything else, but still bizarre. This story involves a teenager from China who went out on a multi-day trip. He ended up getting lost, becoming injured, and he survived for 10 days eating nothing but toothpaste. You may be thinking to yourself, Luke, that story sounds like bull. Well, the truth is, it is. But that hasn't stopped the media from spreading that around. I've seen a ton of articles about this. Chinese hiker goes out, gets lost, survives for 10 days eating toothpaste. The thing is, that is not what happened at all. While lost along the way, he did eat toothpaste, but he did not eat toothpaste for 10 days straight, and he did not survive on it. This, my friends, is what actually happened during this event. In China, there's a teenager named Sun who is 18 years old. He was planning to do a 10-day backpacking trip on one of China's most notoriously dangerous of trails. And he was going to do this adventure in sub-zero temperatures. Sun began his trek on February the 8th on this infamous trail that goes through the treacherous mountains of northwest China. The news articles that I have read stated that Sun had done weeks worth of planning and research for this adventure. But somehow, during all of this research, he did not discover that the trail had been closed for years. The trail had been closed for years because it was so dangerous. In fact, there was a ban in place to prevent people from hiking this trail. The closure and the ban went into place in 2018, and that's because over the last 20 years, over 50 people have died on that trail, and who knows how many have gone missing. Obviously, the ban did not stop people from going out on this 105-mile trail, as you can see here with Sun. According to reports, this teenager had roughly 1 year of hiking experience under his belt, which means that's not much experience, and that really does show with this story here. Yes, he did have some experience on typical hiking trails, but he had never done anything like this before. And because of that, things went south fast. I'll tell you what, folks, since we're talking about his planning and research, let's talk about his gear for a moment, because this is a very interesting aspect to this story. One news article that covered this story stated that the teenager planned and prepared for this trip by equipping himself with $7,390 worth of equipment. All of this equated to roughly 70 pounds worth of gear. With all of the gear that he purchased, he also had numerous navigation devices, such as his phone. He downloaded maps, and he also added some dedicated navigation devices, all of which ran on battery power. So inside of his pack, he had numerous power banks and whatnot to power those devices. Going back to the topic of the amount of money that he spent on gear to prepare for this trip, I would love to know specifically what Sun had inside of his backpack that cost that much money, because that is crazy for just about any sort of purpose. Anyways, let's focus on the adventure that Sun went out on. On day one, he had some serious problems, and he learned very quickly that he was not prepared for this trip. Speaking to a reporter in China, he stated that one peak could be sunny, the next would be snowing, the next would have a raging storm, thick mist, and low visibility. From the beginning of his hike, he was discovering that the clothing that he brought with him was not enough to keep him warm. So the first night, he spent the entire night jumping up and down to stay warm, while struggling not to be blown off the mountaintop. This was the first day, the first night, and it only continued to get worse from there. For some reason, he did not turn around, he kept going forward. On the second day, all of Sun's electronic devices failed, leaving him lost and without a means to communicate or navigate. Unfortunately, Sun did not know how to use a paper map and a compass, and he did not bring those tools with him. He told a reporter that he did not expect for his power banks to stop working in freezing conditions. Because they stopped working, he was forced to use his instincts to navigate. After day 2, he was lost. He just roamed around for a while trying to survive. On day 5, he had an accident. He fell from something. It didn't state what exactly, and it also didn't state how far he fell. But he landed hard enough on the ground to knock himself unconscious. He was knocked out cold all night long. When he woke up the next day, he discovered that all of his food was gone, along with his navigation equipment, which was useless anyways. Additionally, he was injured. One report says that he sprung his wrist, the other says that he broke his arm. Either way, he was in bad shape. For the next 4 days, Sun stated that he drank water from a stream for hydration and he ate toothpaste even though it made him nauseous every time he ate it. On the 10th day, Sun smelled smoke in the air. He started screaming and rescuers came to his location. He was saved. From there, search and rescue took care of his health needs with his arm, hydration, food, and ultimately, they reconnected him with his family, with his loved ones. In the end, even though he was injured, he went home safe. When he got home, his family was given a bill for $11,000 for the search and rescue operation. Again, everybody, he was out on a trail that he was not supposed to be on. The search and rescue operation was very expensive, not to mention time-consuming, and it put others in danger. In an interview, Sun stated that this entire ordeal left him with a sense of fear and guilt, and that is exactly what he should be feeling. He stated that the image of his mother crying will stay with him for a very long time, as it should. That, everyone, is what happened to Sun on this trip. In the end, he was very lucky to survive. He was very lucky to get off of that mountain alive. Speaking of which, the rescue team stated that he was the first person that they had gotten off of the mountain alive in 5 years. Everybody else had died up there. What I find so interesting about this situation, this story, is not the fact that he was eating toothpaste. That was pretty dumb. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But he spent so much money on equipment and gear. He apparently did a lot of research, I think more about gear than the actual trail. Talk about a crazy situation, and I'm glad that he was able to make it home alive, right? He was injured, but he was okay. He's gonna be okay. You have to consider that he was drinking unfiltered, untreated water from a stream to survive. But of course, you have to do what you have to do. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the fact that he was eating toothpaste for 4 days. Again, the news articles state that he ate toothpaste for 10 days. That's just to grab your attention. Eating toothpaste had absolutely nothing to do with his survival. I'm sure you know this. When you ingest toothpaste, it offers no survival benefits. It does not benefit your health at all. If you were to consume toothpaste, and we're talking about very good quality toothpaste, it would make you sick. It would make you nauseous. Most toothpaste has fluoride in it. It can cause vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain. If you consume enough fluoride, it can cause muscle weakness, tremors, and you can even have heart issues. By the way, when it comes to Chinese toothpaste, it does contain fluoride. Since roughly 1989, that's been the protocol. Most toothpaste has it in that country. With that being said, in China, companies do not have to follow the same safety protocols that other countries do. And because of that, some toothpaste does have additional chemicals in it. Chemicals that other countries consider to be toxic. Am I surprised that Sun was feeling nauseous after eating toothpaste? No, I'm not. Not at all. To be clear, toothpaste does not provide any kind of health benefit or survival benefit. So don't start carrying Colgate with you just in case. It's not going to do you any good. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but if you're stuck out in the woods, you're completely lost, use that toothpaste to brush your teeth. Do not eat it. It's not going to help you at all. It may taste like a strawberry, I promise you, there's no strawberries in it. Going back to the sensational claims made about this story, again, he did not survive 10 days eating toothpaste. The toothpaste played no role in this. In fact, it only hindered him, it only made him feel sick, it did him no good. That is a good example of how news agencies will use sensational claims to get you to click on those articles. It's no different than a YouTube video or anything else. You did click on this video after all. Talk about a great headline, but it's not based in reality at all. In the end, everybody, I'm very glad that Sun was able to make it home. He's safe and sound with his family, and hopefully he learned some valuable lessons. It goes to show that one needs to plan, and if you're not experienced, get somebody else's input. Make some phone calls, make sure a trail's open, check on the conditions, and so on. Do not be foolhardy. Do not put your life in danger. Do not put other lives in danger. You have to consider the search and rescue teams who have to come after you. You do not want to put their lives in danger. In some states and some countries, you can be charged criminally for doing this. You do not want to face criminal charges. You do not want to face fines. So make sure to plan. Have the right gear, the right clothing, the right navigation, lighting, food, shelter, so on and so forth. Make sure to share your plan. And if you don't have any idea what you're doing, talk to someone who does. It is rather strange how Sun was not able to find out that the trail was closed and that people were banned from hiking it. Based on all of the articles that I've seen, he did so much research, so how did he miss that point? Ultimately, we will never know, I suppose. And with that being said, folks, I am done. That pretty much wraps it up for this episode. What do you all think about this story? folks, don't eat toothpaste, even if you're lost in the forest with a tube of it. It may taste like birthday cake, but I promise you, it's not birthday cake. Everybody, take care, be well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Strength and honor. Bye for now.